Greetings. Welcome yet to another tutorial in the series where we are taking you through the MicroLB business management system. Today we are going to look at yet another module which is very important in business management. That's a module to do with expenses. There are a number of ways of which different businesses manage their expenses as time goes. You might find yourself buying some consumables, you might find yourself paying for some services that will bring value to your business and activities. So this module becomes so very much handy in doing all that, as it gives you a platform where you can record the expenses and be able to track those expenses and possibly do some analysis on the expenses. So let's jump on in and see how we can move into that module and push some data in there. So as you can see here, this is the expense module. It shows my expenses and it shows the view. Let's see, there is nothing, and if I remove that, there is also nothing. That means there is no any expense in my business. There's no expense transaction in the business. So let us create an expense transaction in the business where maybe we are paying for a taxi. I was going in town to meet a client. So in this case, I will come here and create. As you can see here, you have to put the description of the expense. So in this case, maybe I can put transport to town. And then on the product here, there are several products that you can do, but there are some which you need to define on your own. But here I have several. I have air flight, car travel expenses, expenses general, hotel accommodation, office chair, office lamp. So in this case, if I look at transport to town, I can easily note that that's a car travel expense, and I'll click on there. And maybe for the taxi, for me to go in town and back, it costed me 5,000. So I'll put my 5,000 there. I was alone and I took only one taxi, so the quantity is 1. And then I will have to choose either it's me to pay back or the company. In this case, because I was going there to meet a client, it has to be something to do with the company, and the company has to reimburse. So I'll put that as something that a company has to reimburse. And then on the reference, maybe I was going there to discuss on a sale order or maybe a quotation that we sent to them. So I can put the number of the sale order here. And then I can also choose if at all we are re-invoicing. You remember this quotation that we produced for this sales order that we produced for this client in the sales module. So you can see if that's part of that, but then I will leave this blank for now. I will then save this expense. As you can see here, it has provided me a pattern for me to attach the documents. For example, maybe the taxi driver gave me some receipt. I can take that receipt and attach it here on add attachments, and I select it within my documents in the computer, and then I attach it. It will come under attachments here. And then you can see here that it is showing that I have to submit, because this report is not yet submitted to my next level manager for approval and getting paid. So in this case, the very same way we do in a company or in a business setup, when someone has expensed, someone has to check it and someone has to approve it, and then the accounting people, they have to pay with respect to that particular expense. The very same way this also handles that particular process. So from submitted, it will go to approval, and then after being approved, it is going to be paid or it is going to be refused, because sometimes you can refuse a payment to say, no, we do not know this expense, so we are refusing a payment on this. Or maybe there is no money, so we cannot pay now. Or maybe this has been overvalued, so we need there are supposed to be some changes. And then when even you're refusing this particular expense, you put reasons which are definitive of why you are rejecting that particular expense. And on attachments, you can see there are 0 documents here that shows we haven't attached anything, and this is not connected to any bill reference. So I will go ahead and create a report out of this so that we submit. So once you push create a report, this goes to the next level manager. You can see the report here, expense report summary, transport down to meet a client. You can specify who that client is, and then you can see here employees Chancey Demo, and then it's being paid by the company. And then you can select the manager here, either it's going to Mr. Admin Banda, who is my next level manager, or not. And then after that, or you can choose to leave that blank, because it can go almost to anyone in the company. Yeah, so after that, then you can push submit to manager. This you will change from just being a draft to submitted. If I go back to my expenses, you see this as a report that has been submitted to my next level manager. If I click back on it, I cannot do anything else now, because I can only just view the report. Let's try to view the report. You can see here I cannot do as much. I cannot approve this particular thing because I'm using the account of the one who has created this report, and I didn't give this account authority to approve any expenses. So these have to be approved by the next level manager, in this case Mr. Admin Banda. In a setup where you have got one business operator who is a sole proprietor, all the actions and rights are unto you to create a document, to create an expense report. You submit it yourself, you approve it yourself, and then you post it and you get it paid. I should think we should be able to log in as an Admin Banda so that we can check how you can take some of the expenses that have been submitted by this guy into payment. So just wait a moment, but maybe let's just finish this part of a series of a tutorial by just looking at how else you can also look at this. You can look at this in a Kanban view, in a pivot chart, and also maybe on a calendar by scheduling an activity, etc. You can also view using a bar chart, some kind of Venn diagram. You can also use a line chart, etc. So it becomes so very much handy for you to work with your expenses here. You can group by, say, maybe a product, and see which products are taking much of the expenses. So if I had a number of products being expensed in this particular company, I would have all of them listed and all the expenses going to those particular products. And I would also group this maybe by status, say maybe some have been submitted. If I group by status, you see this is a submitted one. Those that are not submitted will come here, etc. So you can also do some analysis, and that is very good. You can also view this by employee, etc. So the group by becomes very much handy when you want to do some analysis and you want to retrieve data that has some meaning, to see which ones are indicators of our expenses in the company. Yeah, so let's log out as Mr. Demo and log in as Admin Banda so that we can approve that report and get it paid. I will pause the video for some time. So there you go. I've logged in as Admin Banda, and on the expenses, you can see on my expenses it's 0. But if I cancel these two, I will see that particular report that has been created by Chancey Demo, who is Mr. Demo, the account that I was using so recently. So if I click on this, I will check, and you can see here, if I view this report, it will now provide me with an authority or a right to either approve or refuse. If I refuse this is not going to be paid. If I get it paid, if I approve it, I'm going to pay it and post it. So let's go ahead and approve. Once I hit approve, it is going to be changed from just being submitted to approved. But then now I have to post it on journal entries so that it gets paid by the accounting team or the accounting section. So before I do that, I have to check other information here on the journal that we are using. So in this case, there is a bank journal which we are using to pay for this particular transport to town to meet a client. But maybe we might not need to pay using this particular bank journal. I can edit this and maybe put a cash account to say we are paying using the cash account. And then I can save this. And after saving that, I can now post the journal entries. It will change from being approved, posted, and then being paid. So that is the process of getting an expense from just being a single expense product and creating a report and then getting it paid. One other thing that I didn't say, which is very important, is that you can create your expenses and compile them in a report. For example, you went to a certain city, you were meeting clients, several clients, but you spent the night there. So you had a hotel bill, you had fuel expense, you had some food and snacks expenses, and you have some allowances, of course. So you can compile all these as different expense items, but then you can take them into one report to say maybe travel to this particular city, and you write the particulars of that particular travel, say maybe on the day that you went there, or maybe the client that you were meeting and the business on those particular expenses. So it becomes so very much handy. It takes a number of expense products at the very same time, and you create only one report which is going to be paid by the account. Let me also go through these, because we did not see some of these tabs in the Mr. Demo account. So there is an expense reports here. You can retrieve a number of reports on expenses to approve, expenses to post, expenses to pay. You can also do some expense analysis, and you can report that in a very good way. You can also do some configurations here on the expense products. You can add as many products as you can. You can also check on some settings. But maybe we can just check on one, maybe on the expense analysis. You can see the analysis begin with the plotting of the charts. I can check this in whatever way that I can, and it becomes so very much handy. And I can change the measures here to maybe subtotal, maybe to company currency, etc. So it becomes so very much handy for you to work with, and for you to work with analysis, whatever analysis. You can also export this into Excel. You can download an Excel sheet of this depending on the data that you have. So you can see here, this is an Excel sheet that I've just downloaded from the system, and it is able to give me the expense analysis in a form of a pivot chart. So here it just shows that you've got that, and that's the total September 2020. If I had stuff for August, July, I would have all that analysis as highlighted here. So it becomes so very much handy in terms of everything. You can also do time ranges depending on the expenses that you have, and you do a bit of some analysis. So thank you so much for following through this, and I believe you are going to try a bit of some things in your business. Thank you so much.